Hey Limitless Nation, today you're in for a real treat. Today you get to learn directly from Martin Mezei. Based in Barcelona, Spain, Martin Mezei was living a life that every man dreams of. Then it happened. Martin had the epiphany of his life and has since spent the last 3 years rebuilding himself. Martin discovered the formula to mindfulness and self-love. He has since dedicated his time to coaching and mentoring purpose-driven men to help them thrive in finding love and happiness in their lives that is in alignment with their own personal mission in life. In today's masterclass, you get to learn directly from the master himself, Martin Mezei. Let's dive into it.
Before you dive into today's masterclass session, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the button below. It allows you to receive notification bell every single time we provide you with the contents that allows you to live a limitless life. Now, if you want to go deeper on learning on how you can hunt your future, make sure you download our masterclass session at huntyourfuture.com. It allows you to know exactly what you need to do to hunt your future. Plus, we are also going to share with you tips and tricks on what you need to do to live a limitless life starting from today's forward. Now, let's dive into today's masterclass sessions.
Hey, welcome Martin Mezei.
Hey Donovan, thanks for having me on the Limitless podcast, man. Appreciate being here.
You're most welcome, and I'm excited to have you here with us today. Now, here at the Limitless Nation, we have a tradition of starting each and every interview with a limitless quote or mantra. So do you have something that you say or think to yourself on a daily basis that helps motivate you to live your limitless life?
Yes, absolutely. My limitless mantra is the only constant in the universe is change.
That's a good one. The only thing that's constant is change.
That's right.
I had someone once tell me that change isn't just part of the game. Change is the game.
Change is the game. I like the way you put that. Absolutely.
Now, in talking about change and things constantly moving on you, like the book, Who Moved My Cheese, what would you say is an obstacle or challenge, setback, or even failure that you've had to overcome to get to where you are now?
An obstacle that I had to overcome was a very, very deep void that I felt in myself that I was looking to hide from all of my life, which was my lack of self-love and self-acceptance. And that manifested in many different ways, but that's what it came down to at the end of the day.
Okay. So you were trying, was it like an identity crisis where you were trying to find out what your mission was?
Well, look, I think most young men nowadays go through an identity crisis, and my identity crisis manifested in me trying to be what society, the media was preaching to me was masculine, was manly, and I was trying to live up to that model. And I felt very insecure knowing that in my essence, deep down, I was a different person. And that led me to kind of jump into the first serious relationship that I could find. And that ended in a pretty tragic way that left me kind of traumatized, really, and taught me a lot about how important self-love is in every relationship, how your relationship with yourself defines all of your relationships around you.
I agree. And not to rain on you at all, but when you go outside of yourself to find acceptance and significance, for example, this pen, if I put all my value into this pen, someone can take this pen and throw it away. And now all my value and worth of myself have just gone away with that. And from what it sounds like, you have also discovered this. And I think I'm jumping just a little bit ahead of the horse, cart, and buggy here. But it sounds like you were able to realize that love outside of yourself isn't worthwhile. It isn't sustainable. It's not that it's not worthwhile. It's just not sustainable. And you found a way to practice self-love.
Yeah, man. So if you don't mind getting a little bit philosophical here, this is the Limitless podcast after all. So I hope that's not a limit.
Go for it.
Yeah. So actually, what I always told myself when I made this discovery, and what I tell people that I coach also, is that the love that you see in other things or other people is actually just a projection of your own love. It's a misunderstanding that that person is what you love or what your value depends on. It's a mistake to think that your car or your closet, your outfits, or the little identity that you built for yourself is where your value comes from, because you have limitless value within you. You have limitless love within yourself, and you have the power to project that onto anything you really choose to. Now, we are definitely taught that it's the right thing to do to project it onto your partner or onto your little identity that you create for yourself. But at the end of the day, that's going to cause you suffering. Like you said, when you lose the pen, when you lose that identity, that car, that outfit, that partner, it's going to hurt a lot.
Right. And that's not something that you would really wish upon anyone. But if you're really not following a healthy plan, it's something that's the natural process of what happens as a consequence to doing something that's rather unstable. Now, I'm really curious because I know where you were. You had that love that was outside of yourself, that significance, that masculinity, we'll say. And now you seem very centered, very calm, very happy with yourself. What was that transition? What was it that that aha moment where everything just changed?
That aha moment. Well, what happened was that I was in this committed relationship, and I was a very insecure individual. I was just happy to be dating a girl that I found very attractive. And this validated me. This gave me some sort of security, something I could cling on to. All the little voices within me that were saying, hey, maybe you're not good enough, had that opportunity, had an excuse to be silenced. No, I'm good enough. Look, I have a hot girlfriend. I'm good enough. And so, long story short, without putting blame on my ex, I was just as responsible as she was. But she ended up cheating on me while traveling after we had been together for a while, and we planned our life together and have lived together and have celebrated Christmas with each other's families. She came back one day from her traveling, and she told me that she's been with another man. And I was crushed. For the first time in my life, that ego was really just shattered into pieces. And I didn't know what a panic attack or an anxiety attack was before that. Actually, I didn't really, I've heard the term, but I didn't really know. And that was the first time that I experienced it. I had panic attacks. I was breaking down crying. I would go to my job and I would hide in the bathroom just to cry. And it was a very, very difficult time. And the aha moment came probably weeks, if not months after going through all of that suffering and trying to process this, when I finally got a bigger perspective and I thought to myself, hey, you went through all the pain, you went through all the crying, you've lost your partner, you've lost your home together, you've lost everything that you thought you were working towards in your life until this point. But actually, this all came to be for a reason, and that reason is so you can rebuild your relationship with yourself. Because I realized that the reason this relationship dissolving, let's say, or me losing that lifestyle that I had at the time. We had a beautiful apartment by the beach here in Barcelona. And everything just seemed so ideal. The only reason that could hurt me so deeply, losing that, is because I put my own value onto it. Because without that, my relationship to myself was not good enough. And so I realized that my relationship with myself defines all the other relationships I'll have in my life. And from that point on, I embarked on a journey that I'm still on to this day. And I have learned a lot, but that's where it all started, really.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. From that moment of your realization that you needed to love yourself, from what I heard, you changed everything. You left where you were. You left the girl. You left the house. You went to a different country that you didn't even know the language of.
Right. So this was already happening in Spain, actually. I moved here 4 years ago. And what I did is that I've thrown myself into this relationship immediately. As soon as I moved here and I met this very beautiful, very attractive, she's a great person too. I don't mean to talk badly about my ex-girlfriend. There was a reason that we had this great bond, even though we both had our faults at the time. As soon as I moved here to Spain, without knowing the language, without having my lifestyle established, I just wanted to build up everything really quickly. Obviously, when you move to a new country, if you're not feeling very secure in yourself, if you're not that confident, or if you're just faking your confidence, if you're not centered, moving to a new country might make it even more difficult. So I just jumped into what looked like an external representation of security immediately.
Wow.
But that was already here in Barcelona, Spain.
Okay. Yeah. And this is not necessarily relevant to the interview, but it's just for my own trivial, kind of interesting. But English isn't your first language either. Is that correct?
It's not. English is not my first language. No.
What is your first language?
Hungarian. I'm from Hungary. I was born in Budapest, Hungary.
Okay. You were born in Budapest, Hungary. You moved to Spain to learn Spanish, and then I'm sure at that point you didn't know any of the language.
The story is a bit longer than that, so that's up to you if you wanna get into it. I can give you a quick rundown.
Quick rundown.
Quick rundown. I moved away from Budapest, Hungary when I was 14 years old. So I haven't lived there in about 10 years. And I have lived in Turkey. I went to high school in Turkey. I went to an international high school. And I went to university in Denmark. And from Denmark, where it was really cold and very financially, economically stable, very chill, very safe. So like the opposite of Spain. I just wanted something different, and I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and that's when I came to Spain. It was probably it was probably the calling of me not feeling centered enough within myself, and somewhere deep down knowing, like most men, we embark on a journey. A lot of myths, epics have this metaphor of the man going out and killing the dragon or conquering the land, or the Native American initiations when they send the youth into the forest and the first animal you kill will be your name, right? I don't know if you've heard.
I haven't heard of the first animal that you kill will be your name, but I can understand all of the rest because I've heard a lot more of all the rest.
Yeah, maybe that's a thing in just like some novels I read. But anyway, yeah, I felt like Barcelona, Spain calling me was my dragon that I had to slay. And this whole experience with finding my ex-girlfriend at the time and going through this trauma was all a part of that, and was all a part of me learning how important it is to embrace your inner masculinity and not try to find that identity in external things instead.
All right. So after going through all of that excitement and traveling and learning 3 different languages, really 2 different languages, I am right, and you speak only 3 languages, right?
Yeah, Hungarian, Spanish, English, yeah, or now.
So after going through all of that, and what are you working on now?
Hope you enjoyed the masterclass session so far. Before we get into the second half of the session itself, it is very crucial for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I really don't want you to miss out on another masterclass where I'm going to share with you what other experts, celebrities, Fortune 5000 companies do to become successful and live a limitless life. So make sure you subscribe right now, and every single time we upload a new video, you will receive a notification bell. This allows you to enjoy the masterclass on the regular basis. So make sure you subscribe right now. Well, as you are ready, let's get into the second half of the masterclass session.
Right now, I'm actually working on sharing everything that I've learned and help other men. I currently help purpose-driven men thrive in love and overcome all the obstacles that we encounter on our journeys and finding self-love, and that manifesting into your relationship or relationships. Yes. I actually have an ebook coming out this month as well, which is called 5 Steps to Mindful Masculinity.
Sounds amazing. So where can the Limitless Nation viewers and listeners go to learn more about not only your coaching skills and learning about masculinity, but also your new ebook when it comes out?
My new ebook, when it comes out later this month, will be available on martinmezei.com, and people can feel free to connect with me on my personal Facebook profile. That's what I use the most. I prefer to keep it casual for now and have a direct contact with people. So that's where people can find.
That's amazing. Now, going through all of this change, because change is essentially the constant, as you've really shared with us.
Right.
What would you say is a point where you had a difficulty being limitless? Something was just like difficulty, or you ran into a wall, or tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So after I had gotten out of this relationship, after about 2 years, I spent a lot of time on self-development. I've read countless books. I've done different courses, and I've joined circles of guys doing pickup, learning how men communicate with women, because I honestly felt like after this relationship, I simply didn't know. I didn't really understand how everything works. And what does a modern man do? You Google, how do I get chicks? Enter, right? Which is probably not the best way, but it's somewhere to start, right? That was a milestone in my journey. And that took me down in this whole world of pickup culture, right? Where different groups of men have their different rational strategies, and they have their different ways of, oh, this is what you have to do. These are the step-by-step guides and strategies on how you can become your best self and connect with women in the best way possible. And so that was a whole journey in and out by itself, which actually led me to have a lot of success with women as a single man, as a bachelor. Back in the day, girls that would have, taken my breath at the time and would have made me really scared of approaching them and talking to them because I thought I wasn't worthy, now did not have that effect on me. I felt very much worthy, and I felt very comfortable in my own skin. And I was able to talk to women, and I was able to have great times and share great experiences with them. And there came to a point where I have, apart from my work and like me going to the gym, I have completely maxed out my schedule, my calendar with different dates and different girls I was seeing. And I was just living that bachelor's dream lifestyle that I thought would be fulfilling. And once again, that I thought would make me feel like I am loved, like I have that connection with myself. And even though I was seeing all of these girls and I was having all of this fun, and I was even considered a bit of a player and a bit of a guy who's always dating different women, I still felt the same empty void. I still felt the same pain within myself, even though I was seeing all of these women. And that was a big challenge for me when I had to confront that what these pickup instructors and different influencers and leaders in this field were telling me was going to make me happy, in fact, didn't make me happy, because it doesn't matter how many short or longer lived little relationships or connections I had, they did not fulfill me at the end of the day.
Right. Wow. So could you share with the Limitless Nation, because you have this experience from really a variety of experiences, but what would you say is the best piece of advice that you yourself have been given that you can pass on to the Limitless Nation?
Dance with your pain. This is a piece of advice that my mentor Thomas Wiggum told me, and still tells me almost every call we have. He tells me, dance with your fucking pain. When I was feeling this stress, even in this situation, even though I had all of these women, I still felt the pain. I realized it's time to stop running from it. It's time to stop running from it, and it's time to embrace it and love it. Not only learn from it, you can definitely learn from it. You can learn from it. But you can also just accept it as a part of life and give that part of yourself love too. Give that part of yourself that's hurting love too. And that piece of advice actually led to the biggest transformation.
Right. And that's the transformation of realization that you need to self-love yourself, correct?
Self-love I like the way you said that. Self-love yourself. Exactly. Yeah, that basically just running away from that feeling, that emotion, it's not going to help. You need to sit with it. You need to feel it. And then you need to hug it, take it out for coffee, talk to it.
I agree.
Netflix and chill with it.
Dance with it. But I agree. You're very serious about that. Now, yes. In your journey, what would you say are some habits that you have instilled into your life now that help maintain this level of happiness and the limitless life that you have set for yourself?
Well, it's funny because you asked me before we went live with this podcast, you asked me what I'm grateful for today. And I really like that you asked me that, because I actually keep that as my daily habit to write down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for each and every day, no matter how weird, how silly, how simple, or how complex and abstract it is. I write down a few things that I'm grateful for every single day. So that would be the absolute number 1 habit that I would recommend everyone. Just start there. We could go into details about sitting meditation, sit with your emotions. We could go into details about move your body. The reason that you're feeling like shit is because you're not moving, you're not drinking enough water. But there's already so many people, gurus, coaches, experts speaking about this. But let's take it down to the very, very, very basic, and that's gratefulness. Shift your mindset from poor little me, why is this happening to me, and move it to how many amazing gifts do I have in my life to be grateful for, and what are the amazing things that are happening for me and not to me.
I agree completely with that. Now, and things happening for you.
Yeah.
Let's play out a scenario where you come home and you walk into your house and you walk into your library and realize that there are no books there. Now, I didn't say this is going to be a happy scenario, but it is a scenario. And then
Okay.
you look at your phone and then you realize that there's almost no money in your bank account.
Right.
But there's enough money in your bank account to get one book. It can be any book, but it can only be one book. What is that book you would get?
Ooh, this is a bit of a survival situation. Probably 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
By Stephen Covey?
That's the one, yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is great because it's not, I've read a lot of bit more spiritual self-development books, but now if I've got no money in my bank account, I need to and I've lost all of my books, man, I need to make somebody broke into my house and stole my books and my money. Oh man. That'll be a good book to start with.
I agree. Very, very sound foundation and principles.
Absolutely.
In another scenario, if you had, let's say, the ability to have a do-over or travel back in time and talk to the younger version of yourself, what advice would you give that individual?
You are loved and it's all going to be okay.
I agree. Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about.
Isn't that funny how when you're back that young age, you tend to be worried and afraid of everything. And then when you go through it and you pass through it, you tend to realize that it was never really that bad.
Yeah, exactly. I will tell my 19-year-old self, hey man, yes, your hairline is going to disappear, but it's all right. You're going to pull it off.
Yeah, and you pulled it off very, very well.
Thank you.
So tell us again where the Limitless Nation viewers and listeners can go to learn more about you, what you have going on, as well as the principles and secrets that you share with, I'm guessing, is only men. Am I correct?
For now, it's men that I'm focusing on, yes.
Okay. That you share with men how to become that masculine, true self for themselves.
Yes. My book, 5 Steps to Mindful Masculinity, will be launched at the end of the month on martinmezei.com. And people can also find me on my Facebook page, which I will send a link to you so you can share that as well.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for your time, Martin.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate being here.
Absolutely. I'm sure that the Limitless Nation has been inspired by your story. I know that I have been blown away by the just grandeur of your story that is really real, because you went from your home in Hungary to Turkey, to Denmark, to Spain, not knowing the language, to finding an amazing girl right after being there. Even though you had some insecure issues about yourself, you were still able to really live what some people are considering the ideal life in Barcelona on the beach, living it up. And then you were able to go from that to a not so good time. And then from there, you found a way to heal yourself, found a way to pick yourself up, found a way to dance with your pain. And at the same point, you not only just danced with your pain, you went on to teach other guys how to dance with their pain, how to become what is really a masculine individual instead of what the media projects to everyone, and helping the other entrepreneurs, successful individuals, people who are looking for their own masculinity, realize that they don't need something outside of themselves. They need to find out how to become happy with who they are. And that's what you are doing, inspiring so many individuals.
Thank you, man. It's very humbling the way you summarize it. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Until next time, this is Donovan saying, stay limitless.
Well, that's a wrap. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the word subscribe. And if you want to go deeper on learning on what you need to do to hunt your future, make sure you watch the interview that I've done with Donovan on what you need to do to hunt your future on every aspect of your being. This allows you to live a limitless life on every aspect of your life, starting from today's forward. Plus, you are going to receive tips and tricks on what you need to do to tackle your day, tackle your challenges on every situation, every single time. So Go ahead and download it right now, and until then, stay limitless forever.